make it, so.
Okay. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to today's agenda meeting. This afternoon we'll be reviewing the action items that will be formally addressed next Tuesday, January 20th, right here at City Hall at 6 p.m. And I'll call upon our city manager, Mr. Bill Burrow, to review those action items. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Would like to recognize Gary Troutman. He's here to provide the economic development report for the Hot Springs Metro Partnership. As you know, Gary's the CEO, and he's presenting December 2025 update.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, board. Happy New Year. I think we decided we could say that for 2 more days till the 15th. I'm going to give you, as mentioned, report for December, and may have a few comments at the end because it feels weird that we're already almost halfway through another month. We've got a lot we've been doing already, and I'll try to save some of that for next month. But you've got the report we sent you. We had quite a few site visits this month. I think I've told you before, but Kirk Conville owns Bago and Preston and Rave Graphics, 3 businesses, bringing him onto the fold. We've been trying to get a relationship with them for years, and we're glad that he's really wants to be involved. And obviously, they kind of own the market on their product. I think I've told you, but if you Google Bago, it comes up to his website, and that's talk about owning your market. And whether you know it as Bago or Cornhole up north, I mean, it's made right here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Really pleased to tell you that we'd and Bill can vouch, we'd been struggling for some trying to get some signage up on the expressway for the Passport Center. Not only you all wanting it, us wanting it, but the general manager at the Passport Center said a lot of people are here. As you'll remember, you know that they're only here in Tucson, and folks are coming here. They've never been to Hot Springs. They don't know where they're going, and some aren't as reliant on GPS as you would think. So we're appealed to Jared Wiley a couple times at RDOT, and we're going to have some signage up on McLeod, both going and coming that direction. And there are no other signs on that mile. I know you know that. We hosted Leadership Hot Springs for Economic Development Day, the youth on the 2nd, the adults on the 9th. The youth toured Alliance Rubber and Express Boats and had quite an array of speakers, including Marshunda Jones from Energy and Franklin Brooke Gilbert from the city here, and the new gentleman leading Amazon, Joe Shervon. Of course, saw many of you at the Hanamaki Toy Museum event at the library. That was very nice, and appreciate Don Roulette invited me, joined him for a trip down to Texas to see the new headquarters for Surf Air, parent company of Southern Airways. Really impressive operation. More impressive was probably the new routing scheduling system, state of the art, same one you would see at American and Delta and major airlines. So that was a very positive. Bill joined us, and Lance, I can't remember if you were in on that, but we AEDC presented a business development Zoom, and just kind of let everyone know how things go when a project comes along. And appreciate Bill and Scott Bailey from National Park Medical Center. I left her name out, but Karen Witt joined us as well. There it is. Karen Witt joined us on that one. Gary was back in the schools, 10th grade class at Hot Springs High. Was glad to join many of you at the groundbreaking for the Garland County Senior Center. We had a site visit with Weyerhaeuser. I participated in the state SEDC Board of Directors meeting along with Shelley Short from Arkadelphia right down the road. She's I'm state director this year, and she's alternate director. We had, as I mentioned, the adults for Leadership Hot Springs. They toured Alliance and Veranda Luxury Pontoons, and you can see the speakers they had there, including Mary Zunick and Tracy Berry from the city. We had, I've got Carol Bells with us today. She's the first female chair ever of the Metro Partnership, so we're thrilled to have her here. And she and Brian Smith, along with Franklin and Karen, had their handoff meeting this month. Had a site visit with Matt Fuller at 501 Prime. We've heard a lot of great Hot Springs products over the years, and Origami Sake has been added to the list. But newest one you may be hearing about more soon is they have a special bourbon that they're producing there called Grandin Central from 501 Prime. So we're in the process of trying to get them a lot of play and marketing for that, something that we can be proud of in Hot Springs. Took a personal tour with Amanda Porter, the Career and Training Education Coordinator at Lake Hamilton. They're doing phenomenal things out there. You've heard Gary and I say that over the past couple of years. Saw all their programs on this particular day, saw a tiny house, and I immediately, I'm laughing at Bill because I immediately texted Bill, the brainwaves were going off, and said this is something that we really need. You know, you all spend a lot of time, as do we, talking about affordable housing and housing program, and these tiny houses are really, really nice. The students may be young, they do an excellent job on it. I think Bill would vouch for me. He sent it on to Chief Davis, and the only thing missing was a back door, which is easily correctable, just different set of specs. But I left there and texted Bill and went straight to Linda Langham's office of the Housing Authority, and I'm going to get a meeting with her to take that tour. And Gary and I just happened to meet with National Park College yesterday, and just remind you that Greg Mundy does the same program that he used to lead at Lake Hamilton. Roger Featherston does now. So the college and the high school could do that. And assuming they could, I'm sure Hot Springs wouldn't be far behind in some of their other local high schools. Gary led our aviation meeting. I think that's the sixth one we've had with our 5 aerospace companies. Oaklawn had a great opening weekend, 15,000 on Friday, 19,000 on Saturday. We had a meeting of our past, present, and future chairs, Franklin and Carol, and about 12 others, about a plan of work for 26 and beyond. On a Friday, we did the same thing the following Monday with our staff. We had a site visit with Sigma Supply. We had a visit from the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. I'll remind you that they are having their annual banquet in Hot Springs for the second year in a row, so we're thrilled to have something that's predominantly been in Little Rock over the years and have it here in Hot Springs at Oaklawn. We made it to the second round of site development grant for the former Buddy Bean property. Thrilled about that. Appreciate Cole for all the work on that. And we're actually hosting folks from AEDC and a couple site consultants tomorrow. So we look forward to that. We're going to put our best foot forward and try to shine for them. We continue to progress with the ACT Work Keys program. I think that's really the way to go on long-term hiring and just credentialing for work. We meet with our friends in Malvern Village and Arkadelphia about regional economic development. You see the headline I pointed out. Again, I try not to put too many headlines in here, but you know, apprenticeships are such a big deal. The state's got almost $36 million for that program. We had a site visit with Cobalt Aero Services, and we had another one the next day with Tanner's Team Sports. Dusty Thornton is the new general manager out there, is taking over for Vince. Headline, I could not let go. Gasoline prices are the second lowest in Arkansas in the entire United States. This was 2 weeks ago, but $2.41 a gallon, not bad at all. Shirley and I went by the Passport Center. They do have the steel frame up on it, so it is taking shape. That will be a 27,000 square foot and $18.3 million expansion. And kudos again to Chief Harberton. Another headline, crime is down once again. And we've heard that about 3 months running now in Hot Springs. Last but not least, I know we're all excited about Majestic. Can't wait to come forward with that in a few more weeks. But we did get the 2 proposals that we expected or were hoping that we would get at the 11th hour, but they beat the deadline, and we got one, as you can see, from the Garland County Library and from the group led by Gina Wurtzel and Brooks Atwood and Rick Davis Summit Properties that we were looking for. So, again, we've had, I'm sorry?
Rick Williams. Rick Williams. Rick Davis.
You said Rick Davis.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Don't know what that, Rick Williams. Thank you for correcting me, Director Trust. I've been with John Hogan, so I can't really comment on. But I do want to say, again, don't want to go into too much January. We'll save that for next meeting. But I did ask Cole last week to send out an email to everyone. It's first of the year. If you're doing any expansion, any new projects, be aware that AEDC, you may qualify for some help on those. And fired that to our 35 manufacturers here in Hot Springs, and heard back from 4 of them immediately. So we've already had 3 Zoom calls with the AEDC on new projects for 2026. So we're starting off with a bang. And in conclusion, I know you're all excited to get your Good Roads magazine. I'm sure it's in the mailbox when you're waiting, but in all kidding aside, there's a 6-page spread on Hot Springs, both tourism and economic development this month. So we're very grateful for that. And Mayor, with that, I will
Any questions?
take
for
any
Mr.
questions,
Troutman?
if I may.
Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I was curious, when, like tomorrow, you said you have a prospect coming in. When you make presentations to potential prospects starting a business or relocating or here, is there something in your presentation that you can share with us?
I'm sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just, is it emphasized about the money that's put into the infrastructure? I mean, they don't have to worry about water sources or anything like that.
Director Garcia, I don't think there's anything we wouldn't share along those lines. And I will say that tomorrow will be a little bit different than ones we've done in the past. One comes to mind that we did for Emerson Electric a few years ago, and we rallied the troops and had everyone out there and telling what they did. And I mean, CEOs of the 2 hospitals, Dr. Hogan at the time. This one will be a little bit different in that we're trying to get a site grant on that particular site at Buddy Bean. So it'll be a little bit more focused on that than if we were to have somebody from XYZ company in Dallas coming up here to look at to move here. So it'll be a little bit different tomorrow, but we will have 2 consultants from Dallas here, boots on the ground tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Director Garcia, I'll add that Gary Carnahan and I will be meeting with them about 11:30, just to talk about the utilities that exist on site, pressures, those kind of things. So we appreciate being part of that and being able to share that information, because it does have a lot going forward in terms of utilities.
Right, that's great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. First item is consider resolution R2613, a resolution acknowledging receipt of the City of Hot Springs financial statements for November 2025. And our Finance Director, Karen Scott, will discuss the item. Karen.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The monthly financial statements are issued to keep city management and constituents apprised of the financial condition of the City of Hot Springs. The November 2025 financial statements will be in your packet, and staff recommends acknowledging receipt of the November 2025 financial statements.
Any questions of Ms. Scott? Hearing none. Thank you.
Next item is consider resolution R2614, a resolution approving an agreement with Andrews Technology HMS Inc. to provide a web-based time and attendance software solution for the City of Hot Springs. And again, Ms. Scott.
Thank you. The City of Hot Springs is in the process of converting all of our accounting ERP software from Tyler Technologies New World Systems to BS&A. We issued a request for proposal number HS25074 for an integrated software solution for time and attendance in order to automate scheduling and timekeeping for all employees in the payroll system. The desired software will support improved management of all timekeeping and reporting, assist with compliance with the Family Medical Leave Act, and provide an advanced scheduling feature to assist the fire department with their complex scheduling, including overtime assignments. We received 2 responses. One was from Andrews Technology HMS Inc. and one from Time Clock Plus LLC. The proposals went through the rate and rank process, and Andrews Technology received the highest score. Staff has negotiated a 5-year contract with Andrews Technology HMS. Pursuant to this agreement, the total cost of the implementation and first year of the cloud hosting is $87,505 plus applicable tax. Additionally, once the number of time clocks needed is determined, the purchase price of each time clock is $2,290 plus tax. In your packet, you will see the rate and rank scores, the order form, and the scope of work that is proposed. The amount in year one for setup and 12-month hosting, that again is $87,505 plus tax, which is estimated at $95,818. Up to 17 time clocks would be $42,636. And all of these amounts are already included in the 2026 budget.
Any questions? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. In our packet, can you include, I believe this RFP added in requiring a certified partner?
Correct.
With them? Can you include how many certified partners they have? And if they only have one, how they choose it? And if they have any revenue sharing agreement with them? So if they are only allow one certified company, that and you put that in the RFP, that guarantees them getting the bid. So do they have a revenue sharing that they pay a percentage or something back to them for being the only certified? Because that seemed like it would put anybody that had the same technology available at a disadvantage.
Yes, I will. I'll also bring information for why Andrews Technology is a partner of theirs. What criteria?
And if they have other.
Yes,
Thank you.
sure.
Anybody else have a question? Was our current program web-based?
We don't have timekeeping now, Mayor.
Okay.
There is, in New World, there is time entry so that employee hours feed into payroll for calculating payroll, but we do not have a separate timekeeping solution.
Okay.
Currently, what happens is someone in every department has to key their timesheets basically into the system every other week, and then double check that just to make sure the time's correct. So it's all manual process today. And that was one of the things that I liked about the system, was automating that process and saving that amount of time throughout the city.
It seems like weekly, there's always some security breach of personal information, whether it be credit cards or department stores, time clocks perhaps. They obviously have safeguards. Has that been addressed or explained what their safeguards are?
I have not had that discussion, but it will certainly happen once the contract is all approved and we begin the implementation phase.
Director Garcia, did you have a question?
Along those lines, I was also curious about the security, as well as a lot of web-based systems, such as when the systems went down and it affected our red alert system. There were web-based systems all across the country that went down that were impacted by that. I don't know what platform, how that goes through, but I'd like to know before a contract was signed and we get into implementation to have all these questions answered.
Certainly.
That may be something Jeff Winters can help with, perhaps.
Definitely.
Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Ms. Karen, I know it'll be in our packet, but can you share with us again who were the bidders? You said
Andrews
Andrews
Technology and Time Clock Plus.
Time Clock Plus. Are they going by the acronym TCP? Is that
Correct.
it? Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is consider Resolution R2615, a resolution repealing Resolution number 8418 and renaming the Parks and Trails Advisory Committee the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And our Parks and Recreation Director, Anthony Whittington, will discuss this change.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee was created by Resolution 2484 and adopted on January 22nd, 1990. In 2014, a division occurred between the Parks and Recreation Department that created two separate departments, the Parks and Trails Department and the Sport Recreation Department. On April 15, 2014, the Board of Directors adopted Resolution 8418, renaming the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee the Parks and Trails Advisory Committee. Recently, the Parks and Trails Department and the Sport Recreation Department have combined again into one department named Parks and Recreation. Thus, the Advisory Committee's name should be amended to reflect the accurate name of the current department.
Any questions of Anthony? Thank you.
Next item is consider Resolution R 2616, a resolution awarding a term contract to AvFuel Corporation to provide aviation petroleum products and services at the Hot Springs Memorial Field Airport and for other purposes. And our Airport Director, Don Rollett, will discuss the item.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We sent out a request for proposals, HS 25064, for annual supply of aviation fuel products and services for the airport. We had 3 responsive bidders submit packages. They went through the rate and rank process, and AvFuel Corporation, which is the one currently providing fuel for the airport, had the best bid for the packet. This is a 1-year contract with 4 12-month extensions annually. AvFuel's been with us for a while now. During this, with this contract, we'll be getting 2 new aviation or newer aviation fuel trucks as part of the process. The years on that will be 2021 and 2022. So it's fairly new. And staff recommends approval and awarding the contract to AvFuel Corporation.
Any questions on this item? Director Garcia.
Does the new contract amount rates change very much? Does it impact your budget in any
No,
way?
there's not a big change to it, and because they're currently there, it kind of rolls over to what they've already had.
Thank you.
Does the contract have an expectation of gallons sold, or is it volume sensitive as far as the pricing?
When they went through, there's not a expectation of fuel, but that was as well.
Any additional questions? Hearing none. Thank you.
Next
Thank
item
you.
is consider Resolution R 2617, a resolution awarding a 2-year contract to JGB Company LLC to provide graphics for emergency vehicles on behalf of the City of Hot Springs, Arkansas Police and Fire Departments. And Chief Harvington is here to discuss the item.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, members of the board. When police and fire vehicles are purchased, they arrive from the dealer or supplier painted solid colors without their black and white color scheme, any graphics or window tint applied. The graphics and black and white scheme must be applied before they're utilized for duty. Thus, the Hot Springs Police Department and the Hot Springs Fire Department both have a need for a term contract with a vendor that can supply the expertise necessary to complete these tasks. The City of Hot Springs sent out requests for bids for such a contract and received 3 responses: JGB Company LLC, Sticky Logistics LLC, and Studio Graphics LLC. These bid packets were carefully reviewed and tabulated by staff, and it was determined that only one met all the specifications. JGB Company LLC meets all the bid specifications and is the sole responsible bidder. A notice to award to JGB Company was sent out with a protest filing deadline of December 18th, 2025, and no protests were received. The City of Hot Springs, namely the Hot Springs Police Department and Fire Department, have done business with JGB Company previously. We've been satisfied with their products and their workmanship and their customer service, and they provided to us, and they are very receptive of our needs. They are in good standing with the Arkansas Secretary of State, and we recommend the approval of this 2-year contract with JGB for these services. The signing of the contract itself will create no fiscal responsibility for the City of Hot Springs, and the funds expended under the contract will be within departmental budget. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions on this item? where is JGB located?
Their install warehouse is directly across the street from the Garland County Jail.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consider Resolution R 2618, a resolution approving the 2026 Annual Street Improvement Program list and for other purposes. And our Assistant City Engineer, Michael Hill, will discuss it. This is commonly known as our paving list. Mike?
Afternoon. This item is to approve the 2026 Annual Street Improvement Program. The program includes improvements on 63 streets totaling approximately 12.4 miles of milling, 15.3 miles of asphalt paving, 3.6 miles of pavement preservation, plus 4.2 miles of alternate streets if funding or utility conflicts require adjustments. Street selections were based on citizen input, public works recommendations, and pavement condition data, including the 2025 First Step Street Inventory with additional screening to avoid any known utility conflicts. The work will be delivered under the city's existing term contract with McGeorge Contracting, also doing business as Cranford Construction, with a $5 million purchase order funded from the voter-approved Our Roads Now program, which expires June 30th, 2027. The program also proposes a Cape Seal pavement preservation project on Shady Grove Road, which is a lower cost, quicker treatment for structurally sound pavement that extends the life and reduces traffic disruption. That work will be bid separately and brought back to the board for approval.
Any questions of Mike? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question you mentioned about the other utilities having work done and the.
Yes.
I noticed in my neighborhood, S&S Plumbing has been out there digging. Is that for one of our utilities or someone else?
They're probably doing some utilities for cable, internet,
I think it's fiber.
Oh,
internet.
okay. Thank you.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Mike, can you share with us those numbers again? I got 63 streets, 12.4, and I'm stopped. I know it'll be in our packet, but I'm going
Yes,
to
it's
jot that down again.
a total. We're touching 63 streets, but it's
Okay.
12.4 miles of milling, 15.3 miles of asphalt paving, 3.6 miles of pavement preservation,
15.3 and then what?
3.6 miles of preservation work.
What does that
Shading.
mean?
Rather than doing a mill and fill,
Patching? Like,
it will there'll be some patching beforehand, but then the contractor will seal the joints in any cracks in the pavement and to put a very thin layer of topping on top of it, rather than a full 2 inches. This will be like 3/8 of an inch on top of it.
It's a
would that
product
kind of
that-
stop it from getting worse?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fix it and then
Yeah.
keep it from
Fix
getting
it
worse?
before
Doesn't
we
have to
have to
be all the
pave
way redone, but just preserve what's
Right.
there?
It
Okay.
extends the life of the pavement, so we won't have to come back and mill and pave later. This will extend the life. We're looking to do more of that. This will be the first that we're really doing here on a good scale. And so it's to keep the good streets good for longer. So
Right.
we don't have to come back and spend a lot of money later.
And that's about 30 miles right there.
Well, the 4.2 miles is alternate.
4.2, what does that mean? Alternate?
Alternate, if there's for some reason something happens and the utility has to go in there and do some work, we don't want to go pave the street and then have the utility go in there and tear it up and putting in new lines or something. So we monitor where utilities are going after they do their repairs, or say in 2 years, they plan on, they give us a list later this year and they plan on doing some work on that street where they're going to replace a line. We'll pull that street and wait until they finish their work and come back and pave later. We don't want to put a new street down and
Have it torn.
18 months later, they're going right down the center of it with a
That
sewer line.
alternate street will move up.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if we have funds left over like we've done the last couple of years, we'll continue to pave all of those alternate roads that's on there. I will say that on the preservation, that's something the county started doing 2 or 3 years ago. And speaking with Judge Mahoney, they've had a lot of success with that product. So it's nice to have, some some experience with that over the past couple of 3 years with the county to know that that product is actually working and renovating some of those streets before they have to come in and just do a terminal replacement.
It's typically more useful in streets that don't have curb and gutter and manholes in them, right?
Yeah, there's some things the county can do that we would get some pushback if we tried them here. You know, it wouldn't look real good on a city street because sometimes it takes a little bit of time for that stuff to, you know, you may put loose rock on there and it takes time for that all to get cleaned up. So we were very specific looking at this, that this would be something that once they're done, it's going to look like a new paved street. It'll look good.
Thank you.
Mike, a couple years ago, maybe it's been 5 years ago, we had a service come in and drive all of our streets, and they had some technology that kind of helped prioritize which streets needed. Have we exhausted that list yet? Are we
No,
still using it?
we did it again this year to get a fresh
okay.
list because it changes. You know, wintertime, a couple of winters, things change a lot. So every couple of years, we're trying to do that to get a better look at our streets and have better information. So we did that this year, and this was created from that list.
Very nice.
We've got a dashboard too that, I don't know if you sent that out yet.
It is, the dashboard is under, if you go to engineering on our website, and it'll be Spa City Street Smart, you can go to that dashboard, and there's a pavement condition where you can click that and actually see all the streets and how they rate, from green all the way to red.
You can drill into those, and there'll be an icon that you can click, and it'll actually show you the video that they took driving down the road. So you can sit at your desk, laptop, wherever you're at, looking at this and be able to see the condition of the road. So,
And on that same
it's
one,
a
you
good tool.
You can also go there and see what streets we paved and on what year, so you can look and see what we've done in the last 5 years and zoom in, and it gives you the miles that you're looking at. So it's a really neat dashboard if you want to take a look at it.
I actually sent that link to Director Beard earlier today.
Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, thank you.
Okay.
Next is consider ordinance O-2603, an ordinance accepting St. Nicholas Court as a Class A city street and for other purposes. And our Public Works Director, Ron Seabright, will discuss the item. Ron?
Good afternoon. The residents of St. Nicholas Court, located off of Shady Heights Road, have requested that this street be adopted by the city. This area was annexed into the corporate limits of the city in 1969 and was rezoned in 1998, or 98, I'm sorry, as part of the planning for the construction of a residential neighborhood. The street has been inspected and does not meet city specifications. There's approximately $150,000 worth of repairs that need to be completed. It includes recompacting of a sewer trench, street repaving, drainage, and concrete repairs. This segment of road is actually 390 lineal feet to include a 40-foot right-of-way, and it has 9 houses on this segment.
I want to add too, on this particular street, we have had a petition for everyone that lives on that street. And when you look back, this street probably should have been accepted by the city back in 1998 when it was rezoned for that neighborhood. Typically what happens when they put that subdivision in or cul-de-sac in, they'll have us inspect it and we'll accept it at that time. It has had some failing. We've done a utility cut, I think, in front of every single one of those homes, so it's chopped up in that small amount of space. And I think we probably put in new service lines to all the homes at some point. There is a wastewater main that runs down the left side of that street, and it's starting to sink, and that's probably improper bedding. And whether we accepted that back in '98, we should have been inspecting that. If it did not have the type of bedding it should have had, we should have found it then. The reason I bring that up is this is a little bit different than someone just wanting us to take over a private street. This is one that, it's been in the city for almost 60 plus years, and it's been a neighborhood for the last 30. So at some point in time, we should have inspected that when it was built, or we should have accepted it back when it was complete. Those people that live there, none of them are the original owners. They thought they were on a city street. So in looking at all that, we wanted to make that recommendation that we do accept this street and have it as part of our paving program as we move into the new year.
Director Trustee?
Thank you, Bill, or Mayor. And Bill, that $150,000 repair will be our expense just immediately?
It will, and some of that will be through the street, and some of that will be through stormwater. Down at the end of the cul-de-sac, there's some stormwater work that we need to do, so that $150,000 will be split between the general fund street repair and the stormwater utility repair.
Okay.
We don't have to replace the sewer line, but we do need to go in and trench under that and put in some proper bedding just to keep it from having any more settlement.
Yeah.
The paving part of it, or however you're going to cut and paste, is that already part of Mike's 63 streets?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you.
Next is considered ordinance. This will be your second ordinance of the evening. Ordinance O-2604, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of Title 10 of the Hot Springs Code pertaining to the Hot Springs Paid Parking Program and for other purposes. And our Deputy City Manager, Lance Spicer, will present the item.
Yep. Good evening, everybody. This item is more of a continuation from your agenda meeting that was on December 30th, last agenda meeting of 2025. So what we've done is kind of summarized and brought forth those series of recommendations and the board's input on what you want to see on this paid parking program. So I don't want to go into a ton of detail for all of them, but I'll certainly address each one as we move through it. I kind of joked at the pre-agenda meeting, this is kind of a omnibus piece of legislation. It's got a lot of fingers and toes and different ordinances. So when you get your packet, there's going to be quite a bit of amending ordinance 6521, et cetera, so it does have a lot of moving parts to it. But to kind of start, we took the board suggestion to take the primary zone that is Central Avenue, instead of having that tiered rate that we have in place, and look at proposing a flat $5 per hour fee. It would still have that 4-hour maximum time frame, but we did run those revenue projections based on the paid parking time within that zone. So all told, he had about 132,000 paid parking hours in that zone. So the revenue increase is fairly significant. That zone produced about $250,000 in 2025, with the same expectation carrying forward in 2026 with the $5 per hour flat fee. It would produce approximately $660,000 revenue. So that's pretty significant there. That's one of the changes that we'd be bringing forth. The next deals more so with the Fountain Street to adjust some of those spaces to more so similar to the Ouachita area, where they have it's $2 per hour and it has no time restriction. So currently Fountain Street is $1 per hour with no time restrictions. So we would make that the Fountain Street primary zone. So it would have that $2 per hour designation and would have no time restrictions as well. So those are kind of the two from a rate map, rate zone perspective. Those are two of the adjustments that we would be bringing forth to you. So of course that $5 per hour, that's a much more simplified rate as opposed to that tiered rate that we currently have. So that was kind of the board's direction and suggestion on that. But now on to the permit fee schedule for those employee permits and residential permit fees. What the staff is proposing, just as we did at the work session, that would be a $20 per month permit fee for employees, and that works out to a $240 annual permit fee for those employees in the downtown district. Now we would also offer a seasonal temporary permit fee for those employees that come down in the busier summer months. That would be a 3-month consecutive permit fee, and that would be $30 per month or $90 for that entire 3-month term. And then, of course, we're taking the residential permit fee. I think we've been pretty clear on that. It's a multiplier of the employee permit fee. So employee permit fee annually would be $240. The residential permit fee would be $480 for that residential permit fee. Employee permit fees, if you remember, they're only permissible in secondary zones. So those are surface lots, Exchange Street parking garage, etc. The residential permit fees, those are permissible in that primary zone and secondary zone. So those are kind of two of the permit fees that we're bringing forth. Adding a seasonal and setting a permit fee for the employee permit fee of $20 per month, or for that seasonal would be $30 per month over that 3-month term. Next up is dealing with called the inventory management, the permit fees that the permit area, I should say, that is eligible for the employee permits, is to expand that outside of, currently it sits as if Prospect as you head north, Prospect and Central as you head north to the intersection of Park Avenue and Whittington. So really that's the 100 block to the 500 or 600 block. That was really where the permit fees were, or the permits for employees were relegated to. So I don't think the board intended to have only that area eligible for downtown businesses to have employees. So the expansion would include, in essence, the remainder of the paid parking area. So that's Convention Boulevard, Malvern Avenue, extending down Central, Exchange Street, etc., Reserve Street. So it kind of adds in all those areas. If everybody is following me on that. One of the other things deals with businesses that have private parking, either by lease or by ownership for their businesses. We would cap those employee permits at 15% of your current 2025 allocation. So I think people always talk about the Arlington and some of the other hotels and things that have parking attached to it. That would limit the total number of employee permits that they would be eligible for. That's a recommendation that we're making. The final recommendation in that area deals with the Exchange Street parking garage, is to limit employee parking. So from deck 3A and above, so 3A to 3B, that's approximately 85 spaces. So it's not reserved for them, but that zone would be eligible for employees from 3A to 3B. So anything below that would be restricted, would not be part of the employee program. That would be more so for people that are not in the discount program. So I think those more so encompass the various points of discussion that we had on at the parking work session. But I can entertain any questions that you may have, but I think you'll have probably some discussion on some of these various points. It's got, like I said, it's got a lot of moving parts. If I could tell you, probably from a priority standpoint, we do need to deal with the employee permits. That's kind of something that's hanging out there that we need to kind of put a pin in and move forward into 2026. So employee permits and residential permits, from a priority standpoint, those are higher. Some of the other things dealing with the rates, we can certainly deal with those. But of course, the employees are looking for some consistency so they know what to expect in 2026. And residents, I should say. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Director Holliday.
Thanks. I have a few questions. So in making Fountain Street kind of a zone similar to Washita, how does that how does that affect the employee permits?
Employees would not be eligible for those 56 spaces that we would transition into primary. There's about 80, I think there's 86 or 88 spaces total on Fountain.
Okay, so it's just the lower end of Fountain that
Yeah,
would be.
correct.
Okay.
Basically, if you think about the Park Hotel, that area there, and there's I think the sidewalk that'll take you up to the promenade, it's from there as you transition down to Central Avenue.
Okay, and then with the employee permit, I know when we discussed last week or whenever, we talked about having a discounted hourly rate as opposed to a full permit for a couple of reasons. One, there's a lot of turnover. Two, you know, this may not be helpful for somebody who works a lot one month, less the next month. Did you guys look at having just a discounted hourly rate that roughly equals this, or you just need to pay $240 up front in order to have a permit?
You would have the opportunity to pay the monthly fee if that works best for you. But as far as like a true hourly discount, like for example, if it's $1 per hour and you're gonna get a 75% discount, the system itself can't really distinguish each employee transaction in that fashion. So
Okay.
that's kind of why we needed to settle on a permit fee, some permit fee, whatever that may be.
And so in order to get the $20 a month employee permit as opposed to a $30 a month employee permit, that is something that the employer would say, just because some people might just work a couple of months and they're getting it for 20, but someone who knows they're working only 3 months has it for 30?
Yeah, so the thinking on that was the convenience, kind of premium on convenience for those shorter term employees. Now, of course, the employer themselves would have to apply those employees once they have a 3-month employee, because you'd only be able to do that once. That license plate would only be eligible for that temporary seasonal permit once per year. So let's pretend like the person goes full-time, then they would need to transition to a
Right.
different permit fee.
But what keeps them from just getting the normal employee permit and paying it for the 3 months that they're working and paying 30%
It's an
less?
annual commitment.
Yeah.
It's $240 a year. We're allowing them to pay it $20 a month.
Oh, holy crap. Okay, the turnover in service industry is not great for service industry. There's a lot of turnover. So committing to $240 when you might work at this hotel and then that restaurant in 4 months and then back over here, like, are you obligated to pay the remainder?
If, like you're talking about, if you leave employment at 6 months and you
Yeah.
paid, if you leave employment now, you would be short the 6 months.
Lance, we did talk about, the employer could go in and transfer that permit to another license plate.
Okay.
And we've seen several that are opting to, I think, take that route, buy a permit, and then they will manage how that's given to their employees. Maybe buy a few permits, I don't know, depending on your business, depending on what your structure is.
So it's not technically a commitment.
Whoever
mean-
it's $240, but they have the ability to transfer from one license plate to another. Is that right, Lance?
Correct.
I don't think what was envisioned in the drafting of this was your suggestion that an employee might be the one paying it.
Are the businesses ultimately saying that they're the ones that are planning on paying this? Because my understanding was that this is primarily going to fall to the employees. So as they,
You basically have two options. Employer can pay full the $240, or the employee is able to do that as well. We're not locking one method onto either the employee or the employer. They do have that option when they make the application.
I think her point goes, I mean, we're getting way in the weeds.
Yeah.
It should be part of the discussion next week, but, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It was talked about, and the way that this was put together was an annual commitment. And it was envisioned that an employer would be paying that. You're right, if an employee were to be paying that, we're not gonna bind them to a year.
Okay.
But, you know, I don't really know how we're gonna keep up with that either.
I'm not sure how a large employer would keep up with it. I guess they would have some staff to do that, but if you have 100 people or 60 people, that'd be a pretty good amount of money, plus the effort of, as Director Holliday said, there is a considerable amount of turnover in the hospitality, and then you also have your seasonal increase of staff and reduction later on.
And one point, of course, just because you're an employee doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in the discount program. If you only work a couple hours a month, it's only $1 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is, you know, I feel like if I'm getting lost in this, the communications out to people who either work downtown or may consider working downtown. If I was looking at a service industry job and thought that I might also get saddled with a $240 commitment for a job that I may not keep, I just wouldn't apply for the job. So I'd go work further down Central. So I feel like, and whether that's just the language in the packet, I just want to make sure whatever the language is that's in the ordinance, and we're not looking at it at the moment, is very clear, because that's been one of the biggest fears, is that we're going to discourage employment downtown. I don't think having a fee even in this range is discouraging. I think having a commitment is terrifying. And that's why I was a little confused as the seasonal, because I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just pay 20 and just not have your job after 3 months? But, so anyway, I mean, we can wait and see when the language comes out, but that, I want to make sure that whatever comes to us, that's, at least for my brain, is really clear as to how that would work. And then, my understanding, the official seasonal jobs downtown being the National Park, I don't think they're only 3 months. Has anyone confirmed that? I think they're like 4.5, 5 months.
That's, I mean, generally speaking, like, we're talking seasonal, high school, college, school lets out, they're working June, July, and some of August, or May, June, July.
Okay. Okay, those were my questions. Thank you.
Director Dobbs-Smith?
If you're going to make it an annual fee, make it an annual fee. And then if you're going to make it a monthly fee, make it more than the annual fee. You get it's like a discount. You buy 12, you get a discount. You buy it by the month, it's less. And then your other option is pay hourly, which is hourly. That's easy enough to figure out. But why would you have the 20 and the 30 and you can pay it or you cannot pay it, or if you could just decide, I'm not going to pay it, I'm only here for a short time, then what's the point? So either make it an annual fee that you're anticipating the employer will, as a perk, and possibly get their, and then they'll have to go in when they onboard a new employee and change the license plate.
That's a fair assessment. The one issue we have is every business is totally different. So we're trying to fit them all in a box, and they may fit, they may not. I don't know.
Well, and they may choose to pay for it and they may not. But if they choose not to pay for it, then they may have people jumping ship and going over to the place that will pay.
Very true.
Well, there still is some free parking, but it means you got to walk a little bit. I have one staff member who just doesn't want to mess with it, gets to work early during the weekdays, and the person parks in a location where there's no cost. Walks 6 minutes to work and 6 minutes back, and no problem.
And I was trying to think of a place where there's a parking lot that has a bus, like the depot. There's not usually much parking there, but someplace where you could use public transportation. I mean, a bus token is 50 cents,
25.
25. So you could, is there anything up Whittington, like where our new facility is, where you could park and take the bus in? No? It was just a thought. I mean, that was what we thought initially about the depot, was about the transportation plaza, was that people would park there and then ride the trolley into town. And if it's only a quarter, that might be a really good option if you plan to go to work and stay all day. And I'm not sure I would want to walk from the Arlington to the transportation plaza, but you could. I mean, people walk up and down all day.
Yeah, there's bus stops throughout downtown. If somebody did do like a park and ride type method, riding a bus, parking somewhere along a route or close by, depot obviously is kind of the main spot there, and they could utilize it up and down the business district. That's definitely doable.
Just a thought.
Additional questions? Director Trustee?
Thank you, Mayor. In reality, I think someone made the comment that the businesses will maybe buy 5 of these permits or 10 of these permits. And they can do that, but eventually that $20 a month is going to be paid by the employee. But if the employee only works 3 months or 4 months or 5 months, the employer still has that permit. And if they replace that person, a person who takes that job could then use the other 6 months of that permit, right? At $20 a month. I mean, they pay the employer instead of paying the city because the employer's already bought the permit.
Correct, yeah. Some, like currently right now, although it is no fee, there are some employers that are moving people in and out of permits as they transition to a different business or leave employment altogether.
Right.
We had some that stated that, you know, they wanted to just pay for the permit themselves. They're going to take care of their employees and make sure they're permitted and in the system. That was not going to do a pass-through.
Right.
We've had a few of those calls.
But some will do that.
Some will.
Right. And then the other thing, the rate on the Exchange Street deck, is it changing or just okay, so it is still
$1 per
$1 per hour with no time limit.
Correct.
Right. Other than you have to be out by 10 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. So Lance, there will be, some items that reflect how this affects employees downtown and then also residents downtown. What about those nonprofits or any organization for that matter that does any kind of maintenance downtown, like for beautification? There's several in our city that do that. If they are only at a parking spot for, say, 30 minutes or so, and they have some heavy lifting type things to do, and maybe they're older, would there be any way to provide some type of voucher for those people, like maybe have 5 no pay tickets that they could come to the city, explain to city officials what they're working on downtown for the beautification, and because they're volunteering their time and their effort and their energy to help put forth some effort downtown, they could pick up one of those cards and have that available so that they don't have to pay, get their work done, and as soon as they're done, they can give the card back. Could something like that be put into this system as well?
That's very, I will say that's more of an enforcement question, like basically occupying a space without payment. But that would be something that would almost be like a different, I want to say a rate class, because they're not necessarily paying. But that would be something that the city manager would probably need to opine on.
I mean, just thinking through my head, I mean, we don't really have anyone that does that other than groups that may pick up litter, which they could park at a free spot, pick up litter going back and forth. I mean, I'm on one of those litter crews with Rotary. The other is, I know there's a spot down at Whittington Park Central that they plant flowers and do some work in. Of course, there's free parking all down Whittington and Cedar. So I don't know that, I can't think of any other area there where we have groups that are doing beautification other than our park staff.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot to review and give consideration to. Is there does action have to be taken next week, or is there a programming timeframe that we need to be concerned with?
So the board has approved to extend like when we talk about timing, the employee and the residential permits, those have all been extended to February 28th. So that's kind of the time schedule we're working on. Obviously, we want to push it up to the deadline, but generally speaking, you need about 10 days from when we get an approval to get that information to IPS, get it programmed so that we're able to test it. And of course, inevitably, there's always different issues when permits and things change. Then you have to provide some time frame for the employers to go to the portal and make those type of changes and put their employees in. So, obviously, if the board chooses to continue this one forward, it's not going to be a detrimental impact, but obviously we'd like to move forward as soon as we could.
All right. Any additional questions for Lance? Hearing none. And Bill, I believe this completes our action items that will be formally addressed next Tuesday, January 20th. Right here at Chambers of City Hall at 6 p.m. So there's no further business. We are adjourned.
I know.